We're in Wyoming County on our way to Coal Mountain, where there's a big mountaintop removal mine. Going to visit some families whose water has been contaminated.
I mean, look at the scale of that thing. Yeah, that's a big mine. Most people that live around here they don't have a good idea of the scale, really. The mining, opens up new cracks in the rock, and it all increases contaminant loads of groundwater and surface water.
For 2 solid straight days, the creek was black as black could be. This is the well. This is before it even goes through a filtering system. It eats the tank from inside out. Just imagine having white towels and getting out of the shower, and when you wipe off, that's what comes off your skin. If I had to turn the pump on today and turn the faucet on, it would start out black. Our water was drinkable and clear before all the mining activity started. When you have something that precious, that's so convenient that people take for granted, when you turn the faucet on and it's unusable, it's terrifying.
I come from a family of coal miners, people working around and in the mines. And my husband, before he passed, he was a miner. If I could say one thing, I would probably ask the owners of the mines if they would like to come and live in my shoes for a week and see how I have to do to my daily basis on water issues, whether I choose that day to take a shower here or whether I have to gather up all my clothes and everything and go 10 miles up the road to my brother's house and take a shower. I'm not against the coal mines, not at all. But if they damage someone's property, they should be liable for it.
With mountaintop removal, the footprint, the environmental footprint or the impact is huge. And I'm not saying it should or should not happen. I'm just saying it should certainly be understood that you're going to have these impacts, that it's going to mess things up. A lot of these homes have high levels of hydrogen sulfide gas in them, and so you cannot bathe in it, which is a good idea. You cannot drink it, but every time you flush a toilet, you're releasing that gas. Every time you run water, you're releasing that gas. And a hot shower releases tons of that gas. They're still being exposed. They can lessen that exposure, but they can't eliminate it.
Any white clothes I've got, is pretty much yellow looking. My bathtubs and sink is stained. If I put something on my hair right now, it would come out real funky color. So, yeah, it affects everything in the house. Now, whenever I leave and don't use my water for a couple of days or whatever, I can come home. If it's like a day, I come home, turn my water on, and it's black and it stinks really bad. Money is good, money's important, but your health is more important, is the way I look at that. These people around here, their health is more important than making $1.
You can see like the black stuff that comes in to the water.
Zoom in.
Not knowing the science doesn't mean that bad things are happening, but not knowing the science doesn't mean that bad things are not happening. But when you look at the science and when you allow science and evidence to be your guide, you can make good decisions. We would have been really able to make some recommendations about the potential health effects of surface coal mining operations that could have been used by states, by communities, by individuals to make decisions to improve their health. We had epidemiologists, we had toxicologists, we had a lawyer scientist, me. We had a geologist. We had somebody whose specialty was studying how things blow up because a lot of explosives are used in coal mining. All in all, there are probably about 300 to 500 studies. So our job as a committee was to sort those studies, separate the good studies from the bad studies, the wheat from the chaff, and then based on the good studies to come to some conclusions about the potential health effects of surface coal mining in central Appalachia. We were at a critical juncture as a committee. We were just at the point where we were going to start to knit all of this information together to start to develop some preliminary conclusions. But we didn't do that because we were disbanded before we could. My first, reaction was one of surprise, but that quickly morphed into one of great disappointment, because I felt like as a committee, the 12 of us had really gotten off to a strong start, that we'd collected a lot of information, that we'd really begun to get through that mass of studies, that 300 to 500 studies, to figure out which were the important ones. We'd interviewed a lot of experts, and that was going to be lost.
The regulations are there to protect the common folk. And by cutting those regulations, you're just giving these corporations the green light to do whatever they want to the people. Really, the point of regulations is to give the average person a leg to stand on if something happens. People should be very much concerned about what they're allowed to get away with and about what the government allows to happen to folks. I grew up very much pro-coal. I've had coal miners on both sides of my family. I really believed a lot of the rhetoric that came from the industry about how good coal was for West Virginia. They put us in the position to where we have to either choose our health or a paycheck when it shouldn't really be an either-or decision. These health impacts sometimes can take decades before they even show up, and by then the coal is already mined out and the company is gone, and you can't pinpoint, what was the cause of your illness. But there are strong data out there that show that there are health impacts. Pollution knows no boundaries, and everybody lives downstream. So if they can do this here and poison people downstream here, they can do it anywhere, whether it's the coal industry or another type of industry. So the areas around these mine sites are not unpopulated areas. This is not some, depopulated backwoods territory. This is where people lived. So right up here we have the graves of my 8th great-grandfather and 8th great-grandmother. Here we have Floyd Cook, who is my 8th great-grandfather. And now, this peaceful resting place of my ancestors was completely surrounded by mountaintop removal coal mining.
So there was a mountain over there?
There was a mountain over there. The whole area was once, completely surrounded. You couldn't see out past the cemetery for the trees.